If you've completed the webinar on From Degree Programs to the Classroom, you might find this short video useful to show you how program level learning outcomes and module level learning outcomes can be organised. This is an example of how to organise it. It's not the only way, but it does show you a way. So here we have the program specification catalogue at the University of Essex, and I'm going to search for a degree within this, and I'm going to pick one that I'm familiar with, electronic engineering. So if I search for this degree, then I'll find a list of things that are relative to that, but I'm going to pick this Bachelor's Engineering course at BEng Electronic Engineering. So having chosen this degree program, I can look at its program specification, and you can see here that there's an overview with a certain amount of information on it, things that are mainly useful for anybody wanting to understand how the degree is put together. We have a course structure section which tells you what happens in the different years, which modules are present, but from our point of view there are the aims and the learning outcomes. So we have program aims listed here and then learning outcomes, and at the University of Essex, like some other UK universities, we organise program level learning outcomes into a number of classifications. The first being knowledge and understanding, the second intellectual and cognitive skills, the third practical skills, and the fourth key skills. So all of these program level learning outcomes are listed, and for every degree at the University of Essex are listed under these headings. So we can see, for example, here under knowledge and understanding, we have learning outcome A3, knowledge and understanding of electronic circuits and systems. Now you can see at this level we are using a word which is not typically used when you're writing a module level learning outcome, and that's because understanding is a very difficult term to assess. How do you determine whether somebody understands? It's a little ill-defined. So although it can be used at the program level learning outcomes, although I have to say in general one should avoid it at that level as well, one should not use it at the module level. So just to recap, this is a program specification for a degree, and we have program level learning outcomes which are listed in these different categories for us: knowledge and understanding, intellectual and cognitive skills, practical skills, and key skills. Okay, if we press on to the module directory to look at a particular module, we call a module a unit, which in UK credits is typically 15 or 20, which is equivalent to 7.5 ECTS or 10 ECTS. So they're sizes that probably most of you are familiar with. So if I pick the School of Computer Science Electronic Engineering and look for undergraduate modules and search, then I get a list of all the modules that are in my school, and I can see all these different modules here. And for example, if I take the fundamentals of digital systems here, then again I get some information about this, and you can see there's a number of topics, one of which is the module learning outcomes. So I can open the module learning outcomes, and in this we can see upon completion of this module, students should have a good conceptual and practical understanding of the nature and architecture of the digital systems. Students will be expected to be able to 1. Understand the nature and architecture of a digital computer, identify and explain the purpose and principle of operation of the components of a computer system, explain the principles and purpose of an operating system, interpret and manipulate binary representations of data, including 2's complement, design and understand simple logic circuits built from standard logic gates. So these are the learning outcomes at module level that would be assessed. Okay, so again, you can see whoever has written these has, in fact, in this first one, used the word understand, which could be criticised, and you might wish to, they may wish to review that. But number 5, again, design and understand simple logic circuits. Now, when it comes to the module, what actually the students get. So in this case, we say exactly what will happen: written progress tests, examinations, and when the person who gives this module actually presents it, the assessments will be given, the grading criteria will be given, and of course once the students have undertaken the assessment, they'll receive feedback on that against the grading criteria, and those grading criteria will be linked back to the learning outcomes at module level, and of course these module level learning outcomes are linked back to the program level learning outcomes. Okay, I hope that's just a simple overview of how it's done here. If we close this now, I can show you another feature which can be very useful in mapping out a degree, and that's the module map. And this module map here is for a mythical degree, doesn't exist, but what you'll see along the top, I've listed the program level learning outcomes under knowledge and understanding, intellectual cognitive, practical skills and key skills, and these are the module level learning outcomes that are present within this degree. So these are the ones that will be written at that program level, and then these are the modules which will have module level learning outcomes, but in this mapping it tells you that this program level learning outcome is achieved through the module level learning outcomes within this module. And you can see with this type of mapping that in this case this program level learning outcome is achieved through 1, 2, 3, 4 different modules. And a mapping like this can be very useful, first of all, to see whether there are any areas that might be risk, such as a program level learning outcome that is only achieved in one module. That would be perceived as a risk. But also by looking at this map, the density of the dots, one can see, if you like, the way in which the module is organized. So you can see, for example, for this degree, there's an awful lot of practical skills because every module hits every one of the practical skill program level learning outcomes. And of course, I've arranged it that way in this mythical degree to give that example. Could be a different example, but when you're looking at different degree programs with different module maps, you can see differences between them and see how the learning outcomes are spread across these different types of program level learning outcome. Okay, thank you, and I hope you found that useful, and I hope that complements what was covered in the webinar. Thank you for your attention.